Hey, Limit Breakers. Hope you're all having an awesome day so far. First of all, I want to address and say thank you for those that reached out to me over the last few days just to check out how I am and how we're all doing, and my family and friends and all sorts. So much appreciated for all the messages that's come through. Now, I want to. The reason I took a few days to raise the awareness of Stop Asian Hate and articles and challenges that the community is facing right now is because it's something that not only has it been happening the last whole year, it's been happening the last 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 plus years anyway. It's something that has been around for a very, very long time. And racism in Asian culture has always been a thing. It has always been a battle, a fight, something that we've always had to endure throughout, at least throughout my lifetime. Racism has always been something that I've endured and challenged and faced many times in my life where I had to fight against racism and pretend as if racism hasn't happened and pass it off. Because the thing is, with us Asian Chinese people, at least my side of the family or friends that I know, we generally try to not cause any trouble for others. We generally try to just do our thing and carry on every day as normal. Pretend nothing has happened, pretend it didn't happen, pretend and pass off any Asian hate and racism that occurred in our lives. And when someone asks us, we would just say we're okay. We pass it off and we ignore how we actually feel. We ignore how badly it is probably affecting us. And we generally, try and get on with our day and not cause any trouble for anyone. That's just general. I don't know, it's the upbringing of how we've been from the Western culture. My generation, especially, the 80s, the 90s, we generally try to not cause any trouble for people. So we generally don't ask for help, and we don't generally share issues about racism, abuse, attacks, and all sorts of things that come up in our day-to-day lives. Whether it come up when we're traveling to work, when we're buying a cup of coffee, when we're going eating out in restaurants, whether we're going out to the cinema or to get some coffee, or even just driving out. Even just driving out and leaving the door, walking around the parks, walking around the public parks, walking around community areas, town centers, shopping, food shopping. It happens. It happens very often, and it's something that we generally try and pass off and ignore. But the main concern right now is the elderly is getting attacked. Like the elders, which is like my parents' generation, my friends' parents' generation, my family, my cousins' parents. It's and even older, they're the ones that's getting attacked. They're the ones that's being targeted by cowards, by people who are ignorant and people who are just nasty. And I can't believe how nasty these people are to target the elderly. It's something that needs to be addressed, and I don't think violence solves anything. But I am very sure once UK starts opening back up, there will be more violence to the community. We've already seen glimpses of Asian attacks in the UK already during lockdown. So you can imagine what it would be like once we open back up again, once the UK opens up its doors and everyone is back out again. You can see already the potential risks and damage that is going to start happening around communities. And there'll be more reports of Asian attacks. There'll be more racism. There'll be more racist abuse. There'll be more hatred. There'll be more chaos. And there'll be a divide. There will be a divide of communities if we don't stop it, if we don't erase it, if we don't eliminate it, if we don't call it out. And these are all down to, it is a very minor individuals that probably would have these behaviors or attitudes or things against the Asian community. Now, the thing is, I am more fearful for my parents who go out shopping, who go out walking in the park by themselves and without me there. And I get anxious. I get anxious when I know that my parents are going out for a walk in the park, because I just don't hope that they would be the next target of someone else's ignorance. It is something we fear, something I fear anyway. For instance, for me, is that my parents will be the next targets because they're vulnerable, they're easy. People their English isn't great, and they're not really able to defend themselves. And I can't imagine how many of my fellow Asian communities, brothers and sisters, cousins and friends out there, of their parents who will be out in the public when the lockdown ends and stuff, what would happen, what could potentially happen to them. And I hope not, obviously, but going by just observing how badly the communities in Asian American community is facing right now in terms of challenges, it is disturbing. It is sad to see that it's taken 6 lives. It's taken 6 lives for us to have this discussion, for people to even start up this conversation and think, oh, it's actually a thing. Like, there's actually, something that attacks. There's actually some hatred. There's actually a problem here. Yes, there is. It's taken 6 lives and probably many more, before that. That I can't remember the statistics. I think it was up 300% of Asian attacks in America over the last year. And I hate to think what the UK would be once we start opening up. But we've already had glimpses of what's going on in UK during lockdown. So let alone once the world opens it back up again, how much more harm and injury and deaths potentially it would cause for something to start happening now. What can you do as a friend, as my friend, as friend of the community, is just check up on your friends, check up your Asian friends, your Asian communities. If your local takeaways, your local Chinese takeaways, your local Malaysian takeaways, any family, people who you order from or that you know of, right? Just check up on them and see how they are, how they're holding up. Are they safe? Are they being threatened? Is their safety in a concern? Because I've heard a few of my friends have been receiving death threats because they're of their skin color and because of their background and their racial background. They've been receiving death threats because everyone believes it's our fault, right? And sometimes I don't know why everyone assumes that we are on China's side. We don't believe in the China government's party, in what they do and how they treat people. Absolutely not. It's definitely none of our fault. but everyone likes to associate because it's your country, your representation, your heritage, that you represent them. It's far from the truth. You know, we can't control those people who are in those positions. We want to live day-to-day normal lives, just like everyone else. But yet, we have this perceived hatred cast onto us because of comments and racial slurs. People like Donald Trump, who raised Kung Flu or Chinese virus. Like, you can't class the virus as Chinese. I know, yes, it potentially probably came from China, but that's not the point. That's a different, you know. But we already said, and I'm very aware, a lot of the Asian communities over in America, my friends and family over there, have very concerns and hold protests and rallies and PR and everything to raise awareness over those comments, that it would cause harm, it would cause deaths, it would cause hatred, it would cause a lot of divide. And look, a few days earlier, just past 2 days ago, 6 deaths because someone had a really bad day. Because someone had a really bad day. Or even worse, they classed it as he wanted to eliminate his sex addiction, that he decided to kill people. Really? That's an excuse to kill people? And he had a really bad day. It's stuff like that that needs to stop. And stuff like that that causes more harm and anger within the community because of these comments, because people just pass this off and goes, yeah, they're just having a really bad day, so, you know, he killed the 6 Asian people. I mean, that's not really a bad day, is it? And I'm sure you probably heard and seen many of these comments on videos that we've been making because our voices aren't heard. And I'm using my platform and my voice to help raise the awareness to stop Asian hate. And it is, you know, for everyone that knows me, everyone that's watching this right now, who's on my Facebook, who's in my network, who knows me personally, knows how much support I give to the community, everything that I do for the community, what I give back to the community in leadership, in my coaching, in my speaking, in every area. It's all about other people. It's all about giving back. It's always about helping and supporting one another. And it's rarely I get so angry and so frustrated, and I feel so powerless and helpless, right? I feel so helpless. I've always never had so much emotion powered up. It's very rarely for me to get so emotional. But the community is suffering right now, and the community needs your help. The community needs your support. And it's not an easy topic. You know, racism does exist. We do get racist abuse. We do get racial attacks. We do get death threats because of our skin color. We do get treated differently because of our skin color. And it's a thing. You know, it's real. It's much more real than you think it is, than you realize. Not because you're, you know, that you just ignorant. It's not that. It's definitely not the case. It's because we don't speak about it. It's because we just want to get on with our day. We don't want to bother other people. We don't voice our emotional feelings and concern. We pretty much just try and get on with our day and try and not bother other people. That is very, very, I don't know how that mentality came in the Chinese or the Asian community, but we very rarely try and bother other people. Maybe it's tradition. Maybe it's just the culture. Maybe it's how we've been brought up to be. To not voice our concerns, to not voice our problems, to not voice and raise our voice and speak about the issues and speak about the suffering that we receive. It hurts. It's real. It's painful. And I know the community is suffering. Everyone is mourning the passing of our fellow community members. But it's taken these deaths to raise concern and media acknowledgement for people to realize the Asian community is suffering and hurting. And very soon the UK will be come very soon. It will happen in the UK very soon, much more closer than we think. I dread to think what it'd be like once the world opens up. I feel anxious and fearful at the same time for my parents and for all my friends and family and my cousins' parents and the elderly. What would the world look like to them once everyone starts to go back out in the community? And breathe. And breathe. That's one thing I didn't breathe. But yes, I appreciate everyone's thoughts and messages that's been coming in. It's taken me a few days to process what's actually been happening. Just acknowledging everyone's support. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate everything that your love and support and the compassion and empathy that you show me. I hope that you can show it to everyone else that you meet and see. Every other people, doesn't have to be Asian, everyone. I always believe in love and unity. All of you that know me know that, and I always spread that, and it hasn't changed. And I don't hope the hurtful and disgusting behaviors of individuals would change my love for the community and the people. But it's something that we need to be aware of, and something we need to address, and something I need to address and share my thoughts and my experience, and how I grew up with bullying and racism. It's something that I grew up with. I've grown from it. I've grown stronger from it. I've grown a thick skin over it, and sometimes probably too thick for my own good, but it's there, and it's made me the person who I am today. And not that I wish it upon anyone, but I know it's a thing that we have to go through in our community, and it's just part of shaping our character and who we are as a person. It shouldn't be like that, but it is part of it. But yes, I will probably just finish it there because I don't want to go on too long about this. I just wanted to share my gratitude for everyone's messages and comments and discussions. If the best way to support the community is to call this stuff out. If you see it, if you see any of your friends do it, just tell them to stop it, because it's not nice. It shouldn't be, it shouldn't be a thing. And the whole thing about Asian women being fetishized and treated like a doll and things like that, that's a completely different topic. That's another topic that I need to address at some point, but it's probably not my place to address that. But I know a lot of my Asian friends and community are hurting because of potentially what they've been classed as or seen as in that aspect. Especially the comments of over the last few days about the guy having sex addiction, that he had to eradicate sex addiction because of those parlors, or massage parlors, which aren't associated with any sexual activities at all. So how he's passed that onto that, and treating, and the news and media isn't very helping either. So it's definitely a discussion that we need to talk about. It's a topic that needs to be addressed. And if you're watching this and you share the pain that I do, please just support your fellow Asian families, communities, check up on them, see how they are. If you see any activity, behavior from friends, just similar to how, people saying wolf whistling and stuff like that, call that out. It's not nice. It's not needed. Any racist behavior, call it that stuff out, stamp it out. It's now what, 2021, and we're still talking about racism, and it's not something that I thought I would make a video about, especially live. But it's definitely one that I needed to address, needed to raise a discussion over, and I appreciate you watching this. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your love and support. So just live life with no limits, and I'll see you guys soon.